Hello, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Camille Dupuis, and I will be moderating the webinar. Today, we're going to be talking about mobilizing your human firewall with Phish Notify. So thanks for joining us today. A few little things to go over before we begin. As audience members, you are on listen-only mode. However, we invite you, if you have a question, please ask in the control panel and just type the question to us and we'll have someone get back to you. Or we may answer some during the live session as well. We are fortunate today to have guests with us. Our first guest is Zach Luzzi. Zach is the Chief Information Security Officer for Tennessee State University. At the university, Zach leads information security functions, including policy creation, awareness, risk assessment, compliance, monitoring, response, and hardening. And before working there, Zach led an enterprise security assessment team at Cigna and conducted audits of large public corporations for EY, which is a Big Four consulting firm. In addition, Zach has his certifications in CISSP and CISA. He currently resides in Nashville, Tennessee with his wife and daughter. So Zach, thanks for joining us today. We're happy to have you. And we also have Emma Waite. She is our Solutions Manager here at InfoSec Institute. And we will move on now and talk about the agenda, and I'll turn it over to them to get us started. So basically what we're going to chat about today is we're going to go over SecurityIQ real quick. Emma will kind of lead us through that just so we make sure everyone knows what we'll be talking about in the session. And then she'll get a little bit deeper into what Phish Notify is and kind of how that's used in the platform. And then we'll have Zach go ahead and tell us about how he uses Phish Notify at the university and the success he's seen with that. So with that, I'll go ahead and have Emma get us started.
Perfect, thanks Camille. So for those that are joining us on the call today that aren't familiar with the SecurityIQ product, a high-level overview, SecurityIQ is a platform to train your learners on security awareness topics. So in this platform, you can run over different phishing simulations. We have about 2,000 in the platform currently that you can customize. We also have the Aware portion of our platform that has interactive training modules. Currently, we have over 500 that are available in 29 different languages, and you can also include assessments and questions throughout the training. Once your learners have completed with the different campaigns, whether that's through the simulated phishing part of our platform or the awareness education portion, we have some great reporting tools that you can pull different metrics on during the lifespan of your SecurityIQ contract with us. The other part of the platform, which we're going to be talking about today, is our Phish Notify plugin. So this plugin is a great tool that your employees can utilize on their email clients. So the email clients that we support are going to be Outlook. We also have a Google Chrome extension that you can use with your Gmail. And then we also have a Microsoft 365 plugin. And what this does, it allows learners to identify potentially malicious emails sent by a third party or identify emails through our simulated phishing part of our platform, so that way you as an admin can report on those who are successfully identifying phishing messages. As far as how this plugin works, so once you get the plugin successfully installed on your email client, the learner will be trained on how to use it. Simply click the button, and when the button pops up, the little message will appear. It will alert the learner to whether it's a simulated phishing message or if it's potentially malicious message. So there will be a differentiator there. If it is a simulated phishing message, it will say, congrats, you successfully identified emails sent through the platform. And if it's not, it will let them know that it has been reported to their information security department team for further analysis. As an admin, you can go and see these portions in our quarantine section, which we'll flip to next. So this is going to be inside the platform. The Phish Notify quarantine section is a great tool for admins to not only look to see how many emails that have been submitted through the simulated phishing part of the platform. As a friendly reminder, these are going to be the emails that have been sent by a third-party vendor. Those that have been sent through PhishSim will not end up in here. Once you log into the platform, get to the quarantine section, you can view the contents of the email for any emails sent within the last 14 days. You can go and look at the email contents if there's any attachments. You can actually go look at the source code of that email to analyze the email header to see if additional blacklisting is needed. So again, a really great reporting tool to help protect your organization. As an admin, you can also choose to be notified via email when anything ends up in your quarantine section. You can choose how often, whether that's immediately, daily, weekly, or monthly. And in that notification email, it will include a TXT file that contains a source code of that email, as well as who sent that email, the subject line, who the email was from, just to give a great overview of that. This notification can also be sent to other people outside of the admins of the platform. So when I work with customers, some folks have a help desk email that will go and analyze the email. So you can change the report recipient on this as well. So that way, if you do have a team that's dedicated to this, they can go and analyze these messages as well.
Well, thanks, Emma. That was helpful to give a little bit of a background and really show us how the tool works. So we'll move on to talking with Zach a little bit. So Zach uses Phish Notify at Tennessee State University and is going to share some of his successes with that. But first, Zach, would you like to tell us a little bit more about yourself or what you do?
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on today. It's an honor to get to talk about this product that we've had a lot of success with. And thank you everyone who was able to join the call. The biography at the beginning was really good. I'll say that before I worked in higher education, I was mostly in healthcare, in consulting and doing assessments, and had run across, in those experiences, had run across products like Phish Notify, like SecurityIQ. So I knew they were very important and already had an idea of what a lot of the products in the space are, just from seeing a lot of different companies. And I wound up going with SecurityIQ. So I can say that I've been very impressed with their platform while I've been at Tennessee State University.
Sounds good. Well, thanks, Zach. Thanks again for joining us. Definitely a knowledgeable person to have, talking about this with us. So we prepared a few little talking points to kind of get to know the product and really find out how it's used at a real organization. So we'll move on and have Zach share some of that with us. So first question, Zach. Why did you install Phish Notify? What kind of prompted that decision?
So there were three real reasons. The first one is communication and detection. Second is removal of threat. And the third for us was awareness. So I'll touch on the first one. So before we had Phish Notify, we encouraged folks to reach out to us whenever they did find a phishing response, and we gave them a group or a phishing incident. We gave them a group mailbox they could send that to, but what ended up happening was that people would just forward the message onto whoever they thought at the university could best handle it. So it was a mess, really triaging all of those and detecting them. And so sometimes our detection times were really long because it might sit in a help desk person's inbox for an hour or something. With Phish Notify, people, it's pretty obvious what you need to use to let us know if there's a phishing incident. So it's really narrowed that response time and detection time for us. Number two is removal of the threat. When someone clicks the Phish Notify button, it is taken out of their active inbox, which is fantastic for us because in the past, sometimes people's curiosity gets the best of them, so they might forward the phishing message to us or potentially malicious message, but then they would get curious and maybe click it later. And then that last one is increased awareness, so it really ties in well with the rest of the SecurityIQ platform, so that if we send out a simulated phishing message and they report it, something comes up and tells them, hey, good job, you caught the phishing message. And then it's a great reminder every day for them just to see that little phish button in their Outlook client or the SecurityIQ reporting button. It just reminds them that phishing is a real threat, and they're sort of forced to think about it and evaluate it every day.
Sure. So definitely kind of helped you streamline the process of how to deal with these phishing emails.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Did you have any trouble installing it, Zach, or pretty easy?
Not at all. And that's one of the reasons that we went with it. I went and presented to one of our systems managers what it would take to install it. And he goes, man, this is ridiculously easy. And so we started working on installing it pretty much the next day, and it was quick. We really didn't have any hangups.
Sure. Did you make an announcement and explain the tool to learners at all, or how did you kind of go about that process of showing them this new feature, new product?
Not really, and that worked for our environment because we had already had some security awareness training happening. So if you haven't had security awareness training through whichever method you prefer, I would recommend having a little bit of that first, so people actually know what phishing is before the button goes out. So I'd recommend at least a couple iterations of that. But for us, most of our users had an idea of what phishing is, and so we just pushed it out. And then that morning that it got pushed out, we sent out an email and said, hey, you may have noticed something new in your client, and this is what it is. And we didn't really run into any confusion with that method. That might not work for everyone. Some organizations might not be able to handle a surprise quite that well, but it worked just fine for us.
Sure. So, everyone responded pretty well, and no one was confused about how to use it, right?
No.
Awesome. Now, how often do your learners use the button? Is it, do you receive quite a few messages per day about that, or what do you see at your organization?
Sure, I would say dozens, sometimes hundreds of times a day. So
Wow.
we're seeing a lot, and that's a big difference. It used to be when I had the group mailbox, we might get 5 or 6 reports a day. Now it's gone up to at least dozens.
Wow. So definitely a lot of use of that learners are kind of streamlined into doing that, huh?
Absolutely.
Is there any way that you encourage people to report emails? Sometimes people are like, oh, I'm just going to delete this. I know this is fake. I'm just going to delete it. Or how do you get people to actively send you those?
So that's another cool thing about Phish Notify. There's something satisfying for people about using it. Before, when I had the OTS mailbox, we're called Office of Technology Services, so it was sent to an OTS mailbox. It was like pulling teeth to get people to forward a message. There's nothing fun about forwarding a message, but clicking the button they love. So really, I haven't had to do anything yet to encourage people. I'm thinking about, because SecurityIQ has that really neat grading system, I'm thinking about finding the A+ people who report phishing incidents the most and maybe giving them a little reward. But I haven't acted on that yet.
Sure. So I guess it's kind of like a challenge for people like, oh, I've detected so many and kind of successful for them. They feel successful when they find one maybe with the Phish Notify button.
Exactly.
Now, does your IT and security team see the Phish Notify button as a security tool? Do you take anything from that?
Yes. Yeah, it's one of our best vantage points into seeing what our users are doing with an email and just some of their general activity. And sometimes it lets us nip some really nasty phishing attempts and campaigns in the bud early on.
Sure. So you can kind of utilize that information to be a little bit proactive with your team in finding some of those threats and things.
Yes.
Awesome. Has the Phish Notify button increased awareness at your organization? Now, I know you said you kind of had an awareness program beforehand, and that your learners knew what phishing was already. But do you think that they've learned about other security things, security-related measures because of this?
I would say so. I would say it has increased overall interest in the organization, also sort of increased skin in the game. We tell users all the time that they're part of the human firewall and that they are active participants in our organization's defenses. But usually their eyes glaze over because there really isn't a good, solid method for them to communicate and really feel like they're involved. Having Phish Notify there helps them really feel like they're part of the team in helping us detect and respond to incidents. So I would say people are talking about security more here. They're talking to me more about their concerns and figuring out whether something is malicious or not, whether it's based in email, it's a phishing message, or if it's just their machine is acting strangely.
Sure. And would you say that, kind of spinning off of that, people that aren't necessarily in the IT field or aren't necessarily in the technology field of the organization, this is a way for them to feel involved in helping in that aspect?
That's exactly right.
Sure. Do you have any examples, or could you share a time when Phish Notify helped you to prevent or mitigate an incident?
Yes. So we have been getting a slew of spoofing, and in some cases it's spoofing generally. It's just someone will spin up a personal email account, like a Gmail account, and they will impersonate our university administration, and they'll just send a message to someone that says something like, "Hey, are you available right now?" Because of Phish Notify, folks are able to see that, and then they notify us very early on. And a lot of those campaigns will go on for a period of days if left unchecked and not detected. So we're able to catch them maybe in like the first or second or third message that's been sent to our organization. And then we can let that administration official know that people are impersonating them, and maybe in some cases send out an email to all of our faculty and staff, letting them know that this is going on, and it's not something you should be responding to. So that's just one example, and that's happened multiple times over the past few weeks.
And I know that organizations see things like that a lot. It's pretty easy to find, the president or the maybe in this case the chancellor of an organization or something. It's pretty easy to find their name through the media, through this website, through anywhere, and
absolutely
so easy for people to just really tweak that a little bit and try and spoof people with that name. So definitely good that you can stop that, and those are sometimes pretty close to the real name, so those can trick people pretty easily.
Sure.
Well, Zach, thanks again for kind of just going through how you use Phish Notify, and glad to see that success you've had with it, and we appreciate you joining us today. We'll turn it over to Emma to wrap up here, just talking about a little bit of some new stuff we have coming up with SecurityIQ.
Perfect. So we have a new tool coming out. It's going to be available late October called PhishHunter. So the idea behind PhishHunter is it's going to be tied to our Phish Notify tool. So in order to get PhishHunter, you'll have to have Phish Notify successfully deployed on all your email clients. And this was based off the feedback that we received from our customers. We have a lot of folks that, are utilizing the plugin, but they may be getting some of the same messages submitted by, multiple employees, or it may not actually be a phishing attempt at all. It may just be a spam from a marketing campaign, what have you. So we thought of the idea with PhishHunter for a way to quickly analyze, classify, and group reported emails by their risk potential, as well as the malicious content in the actual emails. This could be based on enriched data from antivirus engines, safe browsing. We'll also cluster by different commonalities. So we'll look at the email templates, go look and see if they have similar attachments, links, subject lines, so that way it helps you as an admin be able to go through and navigate quickly without having to filter through the same email multiple times. And we'll also let you know who contributed, and then you'll be able to track to see, who was, a high contributor or who was reported by. So again, it's going to be a great tool that is only going to enhance the process of keeping your organization safe. So again, keep eyes on that for late October, but if you are interested in utilizing this tool earlier than that, for our current customers on the call, you can reach out to your client success manager and they'll be able to set you up with this. Otherwise, if you're on the platform, there is a support button, and feel free to reach out to our support team and they'll point you in the right direction if you're not sure who your client success manager is.
Sure. So thanks, Emma. Some exciting stuff coming. It's going to be pretty cool, and I think that'll be, really helpful to organizations. If you're not already a SecurityIQ user and thinking that it might be right for you and want to learn more about it, we'd be happy to get you started with a free account. So happy to walk you through the features and show you the benefits there. To do that, go ahead and go over to infosecinstitute.com/securityIQ, and you can request a demo. You can kind of look at some of the features on there and learn more about it. But wrapping up here, just wanted to thank everyone for joining the session today, and especially thank our guests for helping us out and explaining and telling us how they've seen success with Phish Notify. With that, I hope everyone has a great rest of their day. Thank you, everyone.